Okay, guys, this is We The People. I forgot what the heck this stuff was. Okay. Of course, it's in Party Royale. I don't know where the heck this is at. It's right there. Okay. Am I going the right direction? Yes, I am. Okay. Oh, I forgot. I had this on random. No, I already started. Well, we'll just continue where it is.
Like hope is infused in our DNA. Like you know, like like if we haven't been broken out through, be it through slavery, through
give
capitalism,
it to me.
through
Give it to me.
colonization, through segregation, through I mean, listen, the history of black people in this country is at one point we were 3/5 people.
At one
That was a written law. And look at us now. We are whole. We are black girl magic. We are black boy joy. We are, you know what I'm saying? What I think about in terms of giving us hope, right? We're making a lot of people nervous right now, Carrie. We're making a lot of people nervous right now because they're like, dang, we put all these obstacles in their way, and these jokers are resilient. But that should give us hope. That should give us hope that like we can't stop, won't stop. I mean, I went to the school of Diddy. You know what I'm saying? Hashtag blah 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 blah. Harlem shaking it right now. We can't stop, won't stop. And I think that's our motto. We can't stop voting and we won't stop voting. We can't stop marching and we won't stop marching. We can't stop thriving and we won't stop thriving.
To that end, because you led me directly there, I've been asking everyone who's appeared on this platform, what does activism look like? And I feel like back in the day, we had an idea. Yes, it is marching. Yes, it is protesting. Yes, it is speaking out against things that we feel are not right or unjust. But talk to me about what activism looks like for Yvonne Orji.
Listen, activism, I think the beauty of activism is that it has many faces, right? You're going to have the people on the front lines. Like, you know what? Martin Luther King marched, but there were a lot of women who were in the homes like, hey, BT Dubs, when they come back, this is how we support all the people who are marching on the front lines. And we're going to be here doing what we know to do best here. And you know what? Somebody needs to bail them out of jail so now we need to be in the community, getting money or whatever it is. So it's like everybody has a position to play. And so play your position like a shortstop, bro. So whoever you are and whatever you do, play your position. So activism could look like, you know what? I'm not the one that's built to be on the front line, but you know what? My pockets go deep, so I'm gonna support the people on the front line. I'm a comedian. Black joy is a form of activism.
There's always a call for entertainers or celebrities that have the platform to do something. Why aren't you speaking out? I'm not a believer in thinking that it's mandatory. Like you said, everyone can be an activist and be activated in different ways. But talk to me about the connection. Talk to me about the marginalization in your world and how you feel like it even inspires you to say more and use your platform to do more.
Beneath the surface of what we do, like Niecy Nash says, it's the who, right? The who is the person who's going to be like, hey, let me call this out. Either blind racism in terms overt racism in terms of ways that we can be better, in terms of ways that we can actually be more uplifting to the community that you may not even realize that you're serving.
Before I let you go, talk to me about the urgency, in your opinion, for people to vote, our people to get out and vote this coming election.
Yeah, I mean, guys, 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 if you think you're tired now, I'm telling you right now, we cannot take this sitting down. We can't take this joking. I understand that it may be hard to figure out who to vote for, but at the end of the day, we got to vote for our families. We got to vote for our legacies. We got to vote for continued progress. We have to vote for
More than about.org. Alright, you
upward
guys, I'll go there
mobility.
right now.
we have to vote for equality in a way that is long lasting. And if we succeeded before, we can do it again. You talk about the hope. This is the time. This is not the time to give up. This is not the time to pretend away that we haven't made progress. We have. There's still much more to be done. And you know what? We might have to get to a point where we pass the baton to our children and our children's children, but we still have work to do now for that generation.
Yvonne Orji, you are everything. You are Molly, but you are not Molly. But I love you so much as Molly on HBO's Insecure. You are an amazing podcaster, Jesus and Jola. Shout out to Lovey. And then we also have movies. Like you, The World, you're a model, a cover model. Also, wait, don't let me forget your hugely successful stand up comedy special on HBO. Girl, I mean, you're doing it all. And I am so grateful. You're truly the dream, not just the American dream. You're the black girl, brown girl, do it all dream, the immigrant dream, everything. You're a beautiful, beautiful soul. I really, really mean that from the bottom of my heart. Yvonne Orji, ladies and gentlemen, nothing but the best and excellence personified. Thank you so much for being here.
I love you so much, Mama. Mwah.
Yeah, la la.
So Atlanta has been one of the hotbeds in terms of political unrest and social injustice. We've seen so much happen in that city, and we've also seen so much come from that city, including one of our very own founding fathers of the civil rights movement, and that's Martin Luther King Jr. But right now, we want to welcome in someone who has used his platform to talk about voting, to talk about racial injustice, and how he's trying to help. Atlanta's very own Russ joins us now on We the People. Russ, I'm not going to fan out and tell you what some of my favorite songs were that I listened to repeat on yours. We're going to get to the topic at hand. So we got to talk about, recently you did an interview where you shared your outlook on culture and music. And you also were very candid about the fact that you have a privilege and that it's necessary for you to give back. Tell everybody about what that means.
It's very obvious I'm white and I'm in black culture and I'm benefiting financially off of it. So I feel like if you're a white person financially benefiting off of black culture, you have to put finances back into black culture. Just that simple. The screenshots with your feelings, it just comes off like fake empathy because it comes off very dismissive and very oh, that sucks for y'all, but anyway, back to what I was doing.
Have you felt that way always, or is it now because of the time where we are in this country?
I've always had the feeling. I think now it's just obviously elevated. It's a new level, and there's new, it's to the point now where you can't. First of all, you can't not say anything. Second of all, though, I just think saying something isn't enough anymore. I think, if you have the ability to put money back into a culture that you're financially benefiting from, have the ability to, you should.
It's interesting that you talk about it in that way because some people do believe that silence is the best way to go because it's hard to talk race, especially if you're white and you're in black culture. People just feel as if they can't talk about it. They feel awkward. They feel as if they don't have the privilege of the voice or the words. How do you find yourself right now in terms of interacting with people when they want to talk to you about social injustice, police brutality, what's going on in this country right now?
Well, first of all, picking and choosing whether you want to be silent or not about race, that's a privilege in and of itself. But no, I mean, I try to just do my best to listen to the black people around me and the educated black people I have in my life. So I do my best to not act like I have all the answers for everything, especially in a culture that I'm not from. But that's why when we decided to raise the money for Black Lives Matter organizations, when we raised 500,000, we got on the phone with some of the women who started Black Lives Matter. I got on the phone with Tamika Mallory. I was on the phone with Karen Civil and talking with my friends to make sure the money went to like the correct places, and people who really need it. It's just about listening. That's all. It's about listening.
Let's talk about that for a moment because the way I think of activism.
Okay, I can't stay here and watch this whole thing because I have other things to do, but I would love to do it.
Great. But what about being an activist in the way in which you have decided to be one? What inspired you? What did it look like?
I got my own little screen that nobody knows about. Haha.
What did you do? Walk us through everything that you did and how you find yourself in this moment right now.
So for me, it was 3 years ago. I had like a string of festivals, and I decided that I was going to wear T-shirts with a message on them because I figured, what better, what better time to use a platform than in front of a bunch of people. So one of the T-shirts I wore was, "If you want to change the system, speak up. White silence is pro racism. The whole thing." And it didn't really it kind of got swept under the rug back then, but when all this stuff started happening again, and it's been happening, the police brutality against innocent black people, I was like, man, I'm not the biggest artist in the world, and I certainly don't have the most white fans in the world, but I got a good amount of people that I can definitely mobilize and turn into some money. And I know they're down for the cause because it's merch, it's a good thing. And I've always been outspoken anyway, And so, how am I going to be in black culture and not be outspoken about racism?
And then I got to ask you this because this is what I wanted to say. As you were
I need to get back to the big screen.
I was one of those people who was like, my vote doesn't matter, and I don't know, maybe it's because I was younger, maybe it's because I really felt that, or I don't know, but I just think that it's got to, now this is a bit of a privilege to say it's got to a breaking point for me because obviously it's been past the breaking point for black people, but I think that as a whole, the young people need to get out and vote because we're the ones that never show up. You know what I mean? We never show up to vote, but we're the future. So it's like, look, we got to go out there and vote, and then whatever happens, happens. But at least we did our part. You got to do your part.
you're very candid in saying that you just decided to vote. And I think there's a beautiful irony in the fact that you have your fans saying, because of you, I'm voting.
Right.
And there's something beautiful about that. But I want to know why now for you?
This
Why have
person
you
trying to get the
listened to
best
all the
shot
signals
ever.
for you to vote? And what hit your spirit to say, yes, this is the time to do it?
Honestly, because
He's probably recording or
I
something.
think that George Floyd really woke up a lot of people who, including myself, who I was vocal and outspoken about racism. I put it in my lyrics. I put it on T-shirts. I would talk about it in interviews. I was vocal about it. But that video in that moment, I think me along with a lot of other people just kind of was like, all right, like words are simply not enough anymore. We gotta do something, whether it's raising money, whether it's voting or all the above. Like we got to do something, and I'm ashamed that it took that for me to be like, I need to raise money and I need to vote. It's a shame, and I don't know. I guess it snapped a bunch of people out of it. And even if you were vocal and whatnot, it's time to actually put your money where your mouth is. It's time to go vote. It's time to just stop talking about it and be about it. And it's been time for that, but like I said, I'm ashamed that it took me this long to actually really, really my mouth is, and I'm being about it because for so long, and I know I'm not alone with this, but standing on the outside and just screaming about this and that and this should change and it's like, all right, but did you vote? you know and so I know it's gonna feel good to know that I played a small role. Then we make a difference, but it'll feel. I have a feeling it's gonna it's gonna feel very, very bigger than me. I mean, I think when you realize that giving uh actually feels better than receiving, that's when you start wanting to do your part and contribute. So voting is an easy way to give.
Yeah, la la.
So, cities like Atlanta and Chicago have been at the forefront of the discussions, especially now in this country when we're talking about COVID 19 and systemic racism, as well as police brutality and what we can do in this country. Again, we're continuing our conversation, letting you know that your voice is your vote and your vote is your voice. We can change where we are in this country. Currently, I'd like to welcome in Chicago Cubs right fielder Jason Hayward. I appreciate you. I brought in Atlanta and Chicago because I know you grew up in the metropolitan area of Atlanta, more specifically McDonough. Let's be technical, and and you have been very vocal throughout this entire time in terms of what our country's been experiencing. Let's look at the past month and a half, if you will. What has been the hardest thing for you to deal with?
The hardest thing for me to deal with, Carrie, this last month has just been going from the virus shutting everything down to us being called to action. We've had multiple police brutality situations. We've had people protesting, wanting to get the message out. But I really realized that I need to be a part of that process, make sure that doesn't get lost in all the chaos going on, for people to actually hear from a reasonable, respectable person who cares about everyone involved.
A reasonable, respectable person who cares about everyone involved, which leads us to more than a vote. It is a beautiful collective of Black athletes and artists. You are a part of that. Talk to me about why that's important for you right now on this be a part of that collective.
To me personally, it's important to be a part of that because I've somewhat used baseball and my craft as an excuse to not get more involved in voting. But I can't any longer use baseball and work as an excuse not to get educated and not also to show people like at any moment in time, any walk of life, we can make a difference.
So tell me in your words, what does activism look like for you?
In my words, it looks like
I don't know what I should do now, but like, I'm not really in the mood. I'm very tired. I'll probably just stop the stream here in a second. Come on.
There are very few that are vocal. You said you all were afraid. Why use that word and why were you afraid?
we was afraid because in 2019 there were 68 of us total, and there are 38 teams. There's 25-man roster on each team. There's a 40-man roster, which is on each team as well. There aren't many of us, so we're outnumbered in that sense, but not always in a negative way when it comes to our
Hey,
teams
I'll be
and our
back.
clubhouses. To get to this point, you have to move a certain way. You got to be careful what you say. You can't ruffle feathers. You can't come off in any way. Much like other black entertainers, much like yourself, probably having to live through life every day. But to get to the highest level, you got to button up. You got to be seen and not heard. So baseball is, like I said, it was time for us to try and speak up and make a difference and show it's okay to do so because we can't be quiet any longer.
That is a button up, be quiet, be seen but not heard. That is a an expression that a lot of Black folks can relate to in whatever aspect of professionalism that they experience, especially if they don't work for themselves. They just feel that. That is also a socialization that we have as Black folks, well, especially like you said, if you want to get to the higher level. And for so long, I felt it bubbling right underneath the surface that so many of us who were in whatever positions we were, who had platforms, were tired of pretending and looking the other way and spending so much time making others comfortable while we were uncomfortable. Do you feel that this is the type of movement that is sustainable, or is it just for a time?
No, it takes everyone joining in on the conversation. And right now, I feel like more than ever, there is little things as possible to distract from bigger issues. And we saw on draft day, we saw our president, Theo Epstein, holding up the sign saying Black Lives Matter and wanting to
Yeah,
include the rest of
yeah.
MLB in that. But now we're having those conversations as well. So I definitely think this is sustainable. And it's not always just going to be the popular thing to do. This is something that people want to get right because they know we care.
Jason, you said you think it's sustainable, that what you're seeing, especially with your colleagues in baseball, that this can be something where you're feeling more comfortable, feeling more safe to share how you feel about social injustice and police brutality. What are you doing right now in this moment with your platform to help change how we look at voting and how to educate the culture and the community about voting?
Well, first, what I'm doing, Carrie, is joining up with More Than a Vote and joining up with other athletes and entertainers to get that message out and use our platform in that sense as a group. And try to create a brand with this to make it something that's not just about the election coming, make sure that it's about people getting educated for years to come and figure out where to vote and how to vote. We've got people in different areas that cover different demographics and influence different areas of people. And as a baseball player, as a black baseball player, I feel like now, like we talked about, is finding the time to show people that you can use your voice in this profession. You don't have to be afraid. And to me, that can help someone, help a kid growing up. He can see me, he can see other guys that were in the video we posted saying, hey, this is what they're standing for. They're speaking up for these things, and it's okay to want to play baseball. It's not lame. It's not something I have to be as afraid of as I was before. So I feel like that's my role in this. I have a younger brother as well. He's 24. He also plays baseball. So I've got to lead by example. I can't just always, come up with a good answer that sounds good on TV when I get asked a question on, what do we need to do to make changes. So I'm joining up here to make sure that I take action and get educated myself. For one, so many people, I feel like in Atlanta, they're on the move. Well, when you want to try to make a vote and try and cast your vote, you have to do it by mail. You have to sign up for the absentee ballot. Then you have to get another ballot in return. They have to send it back to you. Well, for me personally, they didn't send that back until it was too late, right? We didn't get it in the mail to the address that's an Atlanta address at my parents' house. We didn't get that in the mail until it was too late.
Okay, I am
From other
back,
friends
and
and family that were still in Georgia that I know. So,
oh, I have 3 comments. Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. Hi, Stitch Galaxies. I'm not gonna try to pronounce that. I'm gonna stop their live stream.
in there. So to me in Georgia, that's what that looks like.